A long time ago, in a small, sun-soaked village in Jamaica, there lived a boy named Pinocchio. He wasn't named after the wooden puppet from the old tales, but his curious spirit and big dreams made the name fit him perfectly. From the time he was a little boy, Pinocchio would sit on the beach, watching the planes soar across the sky, leaving trails of white clouds behind them. He dreamed of traveling the world, of seeing far-off places like America, where the streets were said to be paved with opportunity. But his family was poor, and the cost of a plane ticket was as distant as the stars. As Pinocchio grew older, he worked tirelessly, cutting sugarcane, selling fruits at the market, and even helping fishermen mend their nets. Yet, no matter how hard he worked, the money he saved never seemed enough to buy a ticket to the world beyond his island. But Pinocchio was not one to give up. If he couldn't buy a plane, he decided, he would build one. With determination burning in his heart, Pinocchio began collecting materials. He gathered plastic bottles washed ashore by the tide, old wooden boards from broken furniture, rusty bicycle wheels, and scraps of metal. His neighbors laughed when they saw him hauling junk to his backyard, but Pinocchio paid them no mind. He had a vision, and he was going to make it real. For months, he worked under the blazing sun, hammering, tying, and piecing together his makeshift plane. He used ropes to hold the wings in place, fashioned a cockpit from an old chair, and even painted the words, "Island Dreamer," on the side. It wasn't pretty, but it was his. When the plane was finally finished, Pinocchio stood back and admired his creation. It wasn't a Boeing, but it was a start. One morning, as the sun rose over the hills, Pinocchio dragged his plane to the top of the highest hill in the village. A small crowd gathered, some to cheer him on, others to laugh. But Pinocchio didn't care. He climbed into the cockpit, gripped the makeshift controls, and took a deep breath. "This is it," he whispered. "I'm going to America." With a mighty push, the plane rolled down the hill, picking up speed. For a moment, it seemed like it might actually lift off, but then, with a loud thud, it crashed into a bush at the bottom of the hill. The crowd erupted in laughter, but Pinocchio climbed out, unharmed and grinning. "It didn't work," someone said. "Not this time," Pinocchio replied, brushing himself off. "But I'll try again. And again. Until I make it." Word of Pinocchio's daring attempt spread far and wide. Soon, people from all over the island came to see the boy who dreamed of flying. One day, a visiting journalist heard the story and wrote about it in a newspaper. The article caught the attention of a pilot from America, who was so inspired by Pinocchio's determination that he offered to fly him to the US as his guest. Pinocchio couldn't believe it. His dream was coming true, not because of the plane he built, but because of the spirit he showed in building it. When he finally boarded the real plane, he looked out the window at the island he called home and smiled. He knew this was just the beginning of his adventures. And so, Pinocchio, the boy who dared to dream, flew across the sky, leaving trails of hope and inspiration for everyone who ever dared to believe in the impossible.